That is the whole point of this video. That is the whole point why you clicked on this. It's because you want to be able to speak to people, get your point across, and there be resolution after it. Hey guys, welcome to Aria Unfiltered, where I teach you guys how to actually achieve everything that you want this year. So let's go ahead and hop into this first topic. So I am going to be talking about how to be more direct when you are a shy person. I'm going to teach you how I became more direct. That helped me continue to achieve the things that I really wanted, because becoming direct helped me not be so scared to have those tough conversations that can move me forward to my actual plan, my path that God has set out for me. So if you are interested in hearing about that, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get right into this video. I wanted to talk about this today because I have heard from multiple people over this past year about how much me being more direct with people help them be less self-conscious, be more confident in themselves when they go in and have conversations with people, how I have helped them see that it's not as scary as it seems to be, and why it's actually very beneficial to their lives of why they need to be more direct with people. The first thing I want to talk about is, how do you want to see yourself? I don't think I've always been a very direct person. I feel like it took me a lot of time to build up the courage. So for me, the reason why I decided to start being more direct with people was because I noticed that I did not want people to walk all over me. I did not want people to think that they can say whatever they want. So I'm a very nice person, but I noticed in the past that sometimes people take that for granted, and they would like to, I would just say, try me. They would like to try me in ways, and I wanted to be able to speak to people without really getting into huge arguments and being in physical confrontations with people. They had to respect me because I spoke up for myself, and I stood on what I felt like was being done wrong to me, even if that meant that there would be some backlash from that. When looking at yourself for being more direct, the biggest thing that you need to see is, okay, how are people treating me? Are you like me, who comes off very nice, and sometimes people like to take that for granted, and so they like to walk all over you, or they like to talk to you any certain type of way, or they treat you less than because they know you're not going to stick up for yourself? Or are you a person who's have been a person who is very explosive and very in your face, and you want to tell it back down, so you have more respect of not being a person who people have to be nervous around? You want to still get your point across, but you do not want to be confrontational. So those are some areas that you should look at whenever you go into looking at yourself. So I want to give a little bit of background of what I mean by being direct and what scenarios that come with being more of a direct person. One thing I cannot stand is when somebody talks to me like I'm stupid, or somebody makes me feel like I do not know what I'm talking about. So I find myself needing to be more direct in how I want this person to treat me, because you're going to run into someone who is going to want to try you for some type of reason, and you want to be able to know how to let them know, this is how you treat me, this is not how you treat me. Going into being more direct with your words and situations of when to be direct with your words. So for instance, I had a coworker, same coworker that I mentioned in my first video. She had told me within that call, she was like, Aria, like you actually really helped me, because you stuck up and you spoke up whenever things were being done wrong there. And it helped me be more confident seeing like another Black woman not only stick up, but not be the stereotype, not be stereotypical, because a lot of times, especially for a lot of us Black girls, we don't like to be direct or confrontational in situations because we have that stereotype. And I did grow up with a mother who always spoke up for herself. That's what I seen growing up. And being her daughter, it was very tough because that was just didn't come naturally to me. And for me, having a mom who would always speak up, it made me feel like I didn't need to. And so when I would get into situations where I did need to stick up for myself, it was very tough growing up because when I had to do that transition, because I really didn't know what direction to take, because unfortunately a lot of those situations I was in, it was white against black. Make sure that I just did not come off as stereotypical. And the reason why I emphasize of not wanting to come off as stereotypical is because we need to be able to show people, for us fellow black women, that we mean business, and you do not need to have us be a stereotype whenever we do speak. So that's why I was very big on trying to figure out how to get my point across without having to blow up, because I think a lot of times when we get angry or we feel very passionate about things, it can come across as anger. But I would say your tone of voice and also your word choice will change how it was perceived by someone else. And that is something that I really looked into whenever it came to how I wanted to be direct in those situations where I felt like I was at odds with the other person. So what is the difference between being direct and being confrontational? So my best friend actually told me this was like very new to me. It was probably like, I think over a year ago. She was like, Aria, you're a very confrontational person. I was like, confrontational person? I was like, what does that even mean? I was like, I never thought of myself as a confrontational person. And when I looked up the definition, I feel like the way she had said it was definitely not in the correct sense, because I never got into screaming matches with people. I just told them that this is how you're going to treat me. And I said it very directly to the person, that it came across as intense, but it was to get my point across. But it wasn't to be angry. It wasn't to turn into something bigger. And most of the time when I have been direct in the past, it did not turn into something bigger. If anything, it gave resolution. And that is the whole point of this video. That is the whole point why you clicked on this, is because you want to be able to speak to people, get your point across, and there be resolution after it. So the difference between confrontation, it builds, and then it comes into a big argument. That's where the definition comes from. But being direct is having clarification. You're directly talking to the person or the thing that you have a problem with and getting clarification from that person. So let's go ahead and jump into even some more tips on how to be more direct and how to understand it in your brain without having that anger aspect. Every single time I know that I have to have a difficult conversation with someone and I need them to hear me, I take time before I have that conversation. I rarely act the same day of when I have an issue. Now, sometimes when doing this, you can wait too long and it will actually do the opposite effect, because you waited so long. They're like, why are you saying this now? I always take at least one night before I go and have a conversation with someone that I know could be intense, because I need to let the anger subside. The anger part of it does not help the situation. It escalates the situation. At the end of the day, I know for me, when I have conversations with people and it is something that I am telling somebody they did to me was wrong or that I did not like, it is actually because I care about them. If I do not care about you, I do not care to talk it out with you. So with saying that also means when you go into having these conversations and subsiding the anger, let's see if they're even worth having the conversation too. Because conversations that I've had with people that were more of like serious topics and I needed to let them hear what I had to say, it always turned out better, because I felt like I gave the sense to them that this is because I care about our relationship. I would like it to be better, and that is why I'm speaking to you. But if I did not feel like that, you would never hear from me again. Check your anger first, especially if you're being direct with someone that you care about. So that can be a parent, a friend, a coworker that you just don't want to have bad animosity towards. Wait a second. Don't wait too long, but wait a second. Our emotions can control so much of how we deliver things, and then we end up literally doing the opposite of what we actually wanted to do in that time. And that is not what you want to do. You want to be that person that, okay, they know from now on, it's like, okay, if Aria brings this up to me, it is because she cares about the situation. She does not want any weird animosity between me and her. And she's telling me this, and I need to think about it more, but also not acting out of anger and taking it slow, especially right after the situation happens. You can also allow the other person to subside on their anger. Now, you cannot control the other person. Now, they could get more angry, but you can only control you. Whenever you do give that space, you can also give the opportunity for that other person to calm down on their side as well. Step number 2 is to write it out. Write out what you want to say within the anger. Write it out on your journal. I have so many arguments in my journal. It is so crazy. But what it did for me was it showed me that, okay, you were about to go mayhem. You were about to be the stereotype. And that is not how you want to present yourself in the world. That's not how you want to present yourself to this person. Yes, you got it all out on the table, but with doing it within your anger, you can see what points that you would like to target. Having conversations with people, something I notice is that when you have points, they listen more. And if you are calm with talking, they listen more. Now, that's not with everyone, but for the most part, that people go off of your body language. If your body language is giving angry, it's giving you're ready to attack them, or that you're ready to go ballistic and cuss them out, they're going to be on the defense. You have to come to the conversation knowing that this doesn't need to be on the defense. I have something that you need to know, that so that we can move forward. But if you're coming at them and you're like, and girl, don't you ever did it? They're going to be like, girl, don't you ever did? And then next thing you know, it's going to escalate. But when you write it down, you really do see like, okay, this part is just anger. This part is just, what are we doing? Like this, but this part is valuable. This part needs to be said. This part, when I see her tomorrow or him tomorrow, this is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to do. Now, if you are a shy person like myself, growing up, I was very shy, but I would say I was shy, but when things would happen and I would have to stick up for myself, I was very explosive with it because I let it sit for a long time. I didn't come at it very good so you also have to know in your head that you are wanting to resolve it. If you're not trying to resolve it, I would say either wait some more or just don't speak at all. If you are a shy person and you do not want to, text messages are good for you to start with whenever it becomes more direct. You also have more time to edit the way you want to say things. But being in that text message, you need to know that you are not trying to spare their feelings, because you are having this conversation because they hurt your feelings. Okay? So when I say have this text message and you're a shy person, maybe you're a people pleaser and you feel like you don't want to come off too harsh. When I was starting to get a hold of being direct and getting my point across, and I did start with doing text messages, I would just say I have never been a people pleaser. It has never been a thing for me. I never had to struggle with the part of trying to make it sound nice for the other person. When you start the message, you say hi, whoever their name is, and then you also put what you felt you did wrong in the situation, or you felt where they thought that they could do that at and why they felt that they could do that. And then you break down why the hell they can't do that and why they cannot do that to you and why they shouldn't do that to you. That part needs to be said. I always do like this concoction when I have to talk to someone. I always address what was said in the conversation, but I also try to put what maybe I did wrong if I did something wrong. That's only if I did something wrong. I'm not going to find something I did wrong, but I can always acknowledge if I did something wrong in a situation, say that to the person, either in messages or in person, but I will let them know, you still got me messed up. Like, you know, so if you are starting out and you do not want to say it in person and you want to know exactly how to have those conversations, make what you did or how you would like to change the directory of the conversation within the first 2 sentences, and the rest is what had you messed up, and being very straightforward of how that had you messed up. Whatever you're thinking, whatever kept on your mind, whatever you looked in your journal and you're like, I need to address this, that still needs to 100% be in those messages, and you owe it to yourself. You are respecting yourself. You are encouraging yourself when you follow through and let people know that they have you messed up. Like, it shouldn't be a hard thing. I mentioned in my first video, I'm a solo esthetician, so I speak to women all day long, and to hear how so many times they have been disrespected by friends, family, and boyfriends and husbands and stuff because they simply won't speak up for themselves. It's so disheartening, because it's like, because they are wanting to do it to spare the other person. But at the end of the day, if they truly cared about you how you care about them, they should be okay with you coming to them with your issue with them. And that is okay. Every single one of my close friends that I have now, I have had a tough conversation with, because to continue growing the relationship, to continue building with the relationship, there are going to be bumps. And pretending that there's not bumps, it's also hurting yourself, because it's happening. It's happening. I'll say what my mom has always said is like, you need to kill the weed while it's small so it doesn't grow into a tree. So the more you don't check that person, that coworker who keeps telling you that you look crazy and not having conversation with, you're just letting them be able to say more insults to you every single day. And or that spouse that keeps treating you wrong, you are encouraging them to continue treating you that way, and do you even worse. Now, I just read this article that went over neuroscience and how to actually rewire your brain. And it put it into really perspective of like why doing the hard thing of like having that confrontation in your head, or like really just having that hardship of knowing that you have to have this tough conversation. And it really speaks about like how some of us can really just excel and some of us stay the same. And it's because we don't want to confront the thing that scares us the most. As someone who sees people every day, has deep conversations, hour-long conversations with people every single day, one thing I always notice is they're always trying to protect somebody else's feelings without confronting what is hurting their feelings. And in turn, they are just literally breaking down. They're becoming less of themselves. And I tried throughout my working with my clients, and even though I am doing a beauty service, I still try to pour into them, because I do research this stuff a lot. I do read about this a lot, because I wish somebody would have sat down and really talked to me about how to really respect myself. Being direct is not you trying to start something. Being direct is respecting yourself, respecting the fact that I know when I walk outside and I go to places, people have already told other people that you cannot talk to Aria a certain way and not think she's not going to say anything. But the difference is you don't want to be that person also that always has something to say. Because always having something to say is not always the best. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted just to do a quick spiel about how to be more direct. I hope this really resonated with you. I hope this also encouraged you to go out and really have those tough conversations. Be more present. Be more respectful of yourself, because that is what this channel is going to be about. This is what this podcast will be about. Is respecting yourself so that you can be your best self. You really cannot be your best self if you're not respecting yourself, you're not thinking about yourself, you're not working towards yourself. going into those areas to build you up. The paper towel theory is something I've been thinking about so much. It's like the more you work on it, the more you do your practice, the more you implement it in your life, the better you get. It's like it's unwrapping that paper towel till you get to the middle and you're like, wow, I have actually completed something. I have actually really stepped into myself this year. I have really started to love myself and respect the fact that I have grown and that I'm in a better place than I was last year. So I really hope you guys got that from today's video. So I will see you guys back next week on Sunday at 1 p.m. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.